Uh, Basically, while I was there, because I only got a few minutes with this one. Basically, while I was there and coming back, um, I got promoted, and I knew I got promoted. I checked my record before I came. I scrubbed my record, so I knew what was in there. I knew what I needed. I knew what didn't belong in there, and I took out what didn't belong in there. Um, my command told me that I didn't. Everybody that I was training pretty much picked up rank, and I was walking around that base like, oh, you can teach folks, but you can't take a test. I had to deal with that until I got back, saw that someone had put in somebody else's um, DD2 14 that had to do with them getting in trouble, and it wasn't me. This should have never been in my record. Somebody placed it in my record um, to say that I was quite indignant with everyone there, civilian or military affiliated. And at that point, because of what I had saw had gone on, I did not care if you were chief, officer, or civilian. I let them have it for the negligence. I let them have it because of what I had to go through over there in Iraq because of them not doing their job thoroughly. And it was a really simple catch because I had never been HN. I converted as a TM3 or as a third class, and I never lost rank. This showed that I did, but again, it wasn't my name, and it was you could easily see it. Date, nothing. Social Security, none of that matched up. And then my senior enlisted leader felt like I owed him a debt of gratitude when he was really behind all of it. Again, like I told you, I was always dealing with Masons, and this guy in particular from what I understood, was not only a high level, but he also was in charge, and I had already spoken to him before of an area in my previous duty station at Cherry Point where the people were being taken advantage of sexually and morally by their leader, their chief that they had. And when I brought it to him after having several people bring it to me in my JA meetings, and they knew I would go and talk to people behind closed doors about any issue. I didn't want to catch this guy in the hospital because even though he was hospital affiliated, he wasn't fully a part of all that. And I didn't want to cause any issues in the division. So I was always taught to go and handle things at the lowest level. So I went and found him in the parking lot and talked to him there. I told him what was going on, what I saw, and what these people were coming to me saying, and how things definitely need to be addressed and changed. But I was coming to him first. And let's just say he was pretty indignant on how he talked to me from that point. But at that point, it was really nothing else that I could do because, even those people weren't making reports for themselves. And they didn't want me to make that big of a deal, but to talk to leadership, and I did. Sucks because I didn't see a big change and a quick change in how things went. So, I'm not sure how people felt, whether I really said anything or not, but I mean, I did what I could do, and that was it. But the same dude winds up being in charge of me later at my next duty station. And when I had issues with my advancement, my promotions being stifled, people were taking things off of my evals yet again and putting it on other folks' evals. Whether it was having somebody come and take over my area for the last 2 months of an advancement cycle or promotion cycle for evals, so they're able to capture everything that I did. It was the same thing I dealt with when I was out there in Okinawa, when they let somebody else come in after I built up everything and let them put all that stuff on their eval and got them promoted from E4 to E5. And all of a sudden, I was the assistant. So again, the plagiarization and all of that. And, it was what it was. I got promoted as I got promoted. I was able to retire, and my thing was, you know what? At this point, I'm just gonna help other people, do what I can do for them, and stop worrying about anything that had to do with me promoting. But I was still having spiritual dilemma this whole time, and I wasn't telling anybody. Be honest with you, because I just, like I said, I couldn't vent, and I didn't want to overload my wife. But at that time, I really felt a really strong calling to, I don't know, become a chaplain or a minister. And I just knew I couldn't do it in that capacity in the military because of what I dealt with. I would always be fighting And I just didn't really feel like doing that. I didn't know that was something that would come back to me at some point, even me wanting to do it or not being discouraged from it. But I realize now that was something that I had in me from a child. I just didn't have the right people to help cultivate that curiosity or that fire that I had. That was mainly behind history and truth. Um, with all that being said, get out the military, retire. I retired, I was 36. Because I couldn't speak about the issues that I dealt with throughout my chain of commands, the moral dilemmas and things that happened. And I mean, I had everything verbatim when they looked at my record, and then saw that how everything went and it lined up. Let's just say the people that did the interviews for me and my intakes for the VA, said that there were things that need to be taken care of, that need to be righted, and the only way it could be done at the time was by doing what was happening. So let's just say that when I got out the military, I was decently compensated through the VA to be able to try and handle my issues post-military life, which, man, wound up being one heck of a ride.